Welcome to Bruins Overtime Live, presented by BuyAToyota.com. For offers not seen on TV, visit BuyAToyota.com with Billy and Razor. I'm Sophia. We're going to try to break down what happened in this game. 2-1 the final. The 10th of a second left, Morgan Geekie scoring, but that is besides the point. The Leafs either won this one or the Bruins lost this one, depending which way you look at it, guys. But either way, there's going to be a Game 7 in Toronto. The Bruins failing to close it out when they had the last two attempts to do that.
Yeah, no question about it. Got discouraging, concerning. I won't speak for you. Concerning for me in the sense that, okay, this was better at times, but there was not a lot of opportunities. I felt that they did have some chances. They couldn't make plays, Razor. I got to be honest with you too, man. I didn't think Toronto had this game in their bag the way that they're playing now. They are completely, I talked about changing their DNA on the dump-ins. Well, they're 3 guys, 4 guys back the neutral zone. Their willingness, they're blocking shots. Bruins did not figure out a way to get through on that and did not make enough plays when it's all said and done.
No, that's. I mean, they had one shot on net, 32 minutes.
Yep.
Done. Enough said. We don't even need to talk for the next hour. They had one shot.
He said it.
You guys go home. I'll try my best.
One shot in 32 minutes in another closeout hockey game. They had one shot in the first period in Game 5. They had one shot in the first period in Game 6. That's it. Like,
their power play didn't come through for them.
We could go over the X and O's and why and how, but the fact is they had one shot on goal in both first periods of closeout games where they can take advantage. Like, that doesn't happen anywhere else in the league. That's not a team that is ready to win and go on. It's gotta be different. So
it's like our biggest concerns when the season began, right? Mm-hmm. Offense.
Yeah.
And face-offs. So those are some of our biggest concerns. Or all of a sudden they've come to fruition here now at the end of the season.
Yeah, and listen, they've got you've got a big picture. Like, they've got to regroup the whole thing, but they need to make plays. They need to make plays. I mean,
there were a couple plays to be made in the third period.
There was a lot of plays to be made. They're still out. They were out there tonight,
yes,
and they didn't make them. They didn't connect with them. They didn't get. Sure, we can say the Leafs did a good job clogging the middle, but you have to get shots through.
Yep.
You have to find a way to get shots.
Got a fair way to move them around.
You have to change angles. You have to take wristers. You have to do different things. And just beating pucks into piles isn't going to cut it. And that's what it looked like. What happened tonight? It's frustrating. It's frustrating because they shouldn't be in this position. There's. For all the reasons they are in this position, there should be enough reasons that they're not.
Right.
And we should be able to be talking about those right now and how there should be some positives. There's no positives tonight.
No.
There's nothing that you can take from this game that carries into Game 7, and it's like you need a total restock and an overhaul here in the next 40 hours to get ready. I'll be fascinated to see how they come out in Game 7 now, because
or what the lines will look like too.
What's that?
Or what the lines are going to look like.
Oh no, that's nothing.
That's nothing.
Put anyone together. Right. It doesn't matter. Like, literally change everything. It comes down to the individuals.
It comes down to their intensity. It's going to come down to their ability to make the plays, as we're talking about.
Clear their heads.
Yes.
Make a play.
Have a complete, what's the term, lobotomy almost on what just happened here?
The pitching movement, clear the mechanism.
Yeah, it's this is a big concern.
Yeah.
Well, it's a huge ask now. This is a huge ask to win Game 7 for this team. It'll be whatever. This will be a case study for someone at one of these universities here of how they can pick themselves out of this and flip the switch, because there's a lot of baggage with this group right now.
Well, you got last year now, the narrative.
Yeah. Last year, this week,
everything.
There's a lot. There's a lot here. It's makes it interesting.
Makes it interesting. I don't like the sounds of it, but definitely, hey, there's a Game 7. It's going to be at the Garden, where there's another storyline. They haven't been playing well in the postseason. But Razor, I was going to ask you to expand, because the first thing we want to talk about is the shots just not getting through. So was it not enough patience, or just shooting it into a pile of bodies? Is it having a little bit, more patience with the puck, looking for those lanes, et cetera, et cetera? Why were the Leafs able to get 27 blocks and be able to do that?
Well, this is Jake DeBrusk, and this started out great. Jake DeBrusk was a positive for most of the game. The hard answer to that, Soph, is that each of these shots, each of these plays is built differently. So sometimes it's moving your feet. Sometimes you're holding on a little longer, holding the patience. Sometimes it's not a shot opportunity. Sometimes it's an off the boards opportunity. Sometimes it's a someone get to space opportunity. So each of these plays was, and sometimes it's unlucky. This play here, you've got a guy in front, it goes off your own guy's neck. It's a good shot by McAvoy. That's an example of that. So unfortunately, it's not just one answer. It's kind of all of those things. Patient, moving your feet, but at the end of the day, you've got to figure it out while that game's being played. That's why you're in the NHL.
Yeah, and you said especially the fact that it happened in back-to-back games like this in the postseason when it shouldn't be happening at all.
Well, it's going to happen. It's just how
but
you do
not,
it.
but
right.
one or two.
Right. Toronto is packing the middle, and the Bruins talked about, Coach Montgomery lamenting, need more guys on the inside, so you bring a lot of bodies in there. Some bad luck, as you mentioned. It hit some Bruins in there.
Rick talked about moving the guy up high in the slot. You can put a guy third high. Like, there's ways to break that and at least try and get them to spread out.
I just think when you go through, now you're going through a stretch like this too as a forward or a skater in general, you start thinking. And it's real easy to sit here and say, stop thinking, just start doing, right? But you start thinking as the clock ticks down, you think more and more. And then you're thinking, oh, wait, can I shoot here? By the time you think, all right, can I get it through? Somebody's in your way.
Yeah.
It's too late. So it's, again, real easy to sit here to say flow and go, just play. Toronto, I felt, did that in Game 5 pretty well. Game 6, they took away a lot of ice there. But Bruins are going to have to figure it out. And it's going to be a huge ask. I keep thinking about it. This is going to be a mega ask for this team to get on a plane. They're going to spend the night in Toronto tonight, get up in the morning, short flight home, flush it out if you can, and then figure it out by 8 o'clock Saturday night.
All right, guys. Well, Saturday night is going to be the game. This has been going around Twitter. This is something we discussed in the second intermission. With 54 seconds left on the clock, William Nylander scores. But before that, this play happens to Mason Lohrei. Any other day, this would have been a penalty.
Yeah, he gets corked, and he goes face into the dasher. He's locked up, and this icing too. Look at there's a few. I'm not sure.
Kind of unnecessary.
I'm not sure what was seen there. I'm not sure what we've seen here. I wish we could get an explanation. I think the referee was in pretty good position to see it. You talked about the holding the stick. You could give Lohrei holding the stick there, and you give a cross check there. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know how
exactly
he can
the call
protect
that should have
himself.
been made.
I don't know how he can protect himself in that situation. And again, it affected the play in a big way. The puck's right there. He's not able to get in there.
Right. Just because I'm holding the stick doesn't mean that you can take it and do something with it violently. And Holmberg gets it. And, I mean, cross-check from the wall is a point of emphasis.
Yeah. We've seen much easier cross-checks.
Yes.
Much easier.
So I'm not sure how one of each wasn't called when it's all said and done. We've watched it 50 times now.
Yeah, agreed.
When it's all said and done.
Not changing your mind there.
Right. So then there's the Bruins, though, they ice it. And then we'll show you what ends up happening. And I don't know. Still got to figure out a way to. So, yes, penalty should have been called, but they weren't. So now you got to win a faceoff, and you've got to handle it, right? And this ends up, Razor, what ends up happening here?
Well, that's it. They just miss it. Again, it's not like a clean win, fortunately. But the Leafs come up with it, and then, again, Nylander's doing his thing. I think Beecher's doing a great job defending. I think everyone in front's doing a great job defending. And Charlie McAvoy's got a guy in front. He kind of gets stuck in no man's land. So in that case, he tries to block the wrister and doesn't get enough of it. And unfortunately gets just enough of it to ramp it up over Jeremy Swayman's shoulder, who is essentially going to take it right in the B. You can see Jeremy look up after it hits him like, man, I was going to eat that alive and had the rebound, and we had a change, and everyone was going to get off the ice. And this is what happens, though, when you get outshot 15-1 halfway through the game. Stuff happens.
Eventually,
stuff happens. You're going to make mistakes, and this goal goes in, in the end, you hope that the third period was going to be great, but the wind was out of the sails.
But, and then this guy, as we show you the start of the game, Nylander, then he goes in and scores a gorgeous goal.
Yeah.
The breakaway backhand goal. But
which
that
ended up being the game winner, even because of that 1/10 of a second left goal.
Right.
You're right.
Right. I mean, Samantha, yes, but you're right. But this guy, after missing a couple of games, he's obviously feeling better. He's feeling a lot better. And you want to talk about, earning your keep, so to speak, the hometown fans. tonight are going to love this guy.
Yeah, no points in his first 2 games when he missed the first 3, and then now 2 goals in this game that sends them into a Game 7. Okay, we're going to try to show some positives here. The Bruins' third period chances when it was still 1-0.
Yeah, I mean, chances, right? Geekie, right? That's a good rush. Get up the ice. I mean, I don't know if I call them positive, just calling opportunities. Again, with speed, but you got numbers back from T.O. Good shot from the outside, but Woll, that's an easy save for an NHL goalie there, Razor, right? I mean,
yeah.
That's a simple one. Here you get a little bit of a turnover. You just don't connect. All right, good opportunity. That's just a shot from distance. Again, the goalie's going to stop it. There's one I heard with Geekie. He's coming up the ice right here. Pass the puck. And he waits.
Yeah.
He just waits. And again, Razor, I get it. It's a simple game sitting here. I get it. Time is a lot easier here. You don't have somebody breathing down on you. But that was that play's made 98% of the time.
Correct. That's the key. Like, of course, all of those things. It's easy from here, blah, blah, blah. But we've seen that play made 58 times this season.
Right.
And we've seen these plays, these are decent chance. This is better. But again, there's no second push. There's no continuation off this. There was, even with all this chaos in front, it was a lot of one and done. And look at 9 shots. 9 shots, right? Like, I get it. It was a much lesser team, et cetera, but the push they had, again, in the last game of the season was 23 shots against Ottawa. Yeah. You go through some of these pushes that we see on a nightly basis the last 10 days. It's not 9 shots on net when teams are down. It's 22 shots on net. It's 17. So 9 still wasn't enough in the third period to really get them in a position to win this game.
No. We haven't even mentioned, by the way, this was done without Austin Matthews.
Yeah.
That just adds to the happiness of it, right?
Yeah. Well, no, and
I think it's actually
freed them up. I think it's.
I was about to say, I think it's made them. I don't want to say a better team, but I think mentally it's given more focus, more structure, more. Hey, all for one for all. Let's do it for Austin.
Back against the wall,
right?
The chaos in Game 4, them yelling at each other. Matthews out. The caged animal, the animal backed against the wall is a dangerous one, and the Bruins have found that out.
Absolutely.
Well, Jim Montgomery is going to talk to Jack and Brick coming up after the break, so curious to hear what he has to say, his take on his team's execution, and a Game 7 coming up. We're going to hear from Montgomery next.